Invite viewers to post their location and local time. He's gripping his travel mug in one hand, still warm from the gas station on the edge of town, when the gravel crunches under his tires and the ranch gates come into view for the first time in months. That mix of relief and nostalgia washes over him. The smell of dry cedar, the wind pushing at the brim of his cap, the familiar creak of the front gate, until his eyes catch the door. Dozens of bright orange violation notices slap and flutter like cheap carnival flags, and each one shouts the same thing: $4,200 in fines. Historians still argue whether that was the exact moment his coffee curdled in his mouth. Before he's even had the chance to read the first absurd citation: abandoned property, overgrown grass, potential pest habitat, there's a sharp voice behind him. "Excuse me, you're trespassing." He turns, half expecting some lost tourist, and instead meets the sight of Lorie Hartwell in what can only be described as a costume shop fever dream of an HOA president. Laminated badge, tactical clipboard, a bedazzled vest declaring community standards enforcer, and a tape measure hanging like a sheriff's revolver. She's striding toward him like she's about to serve a high-risk warrant, and he's just a guy in pajama pants, flip-flops, and a gag gift mug that reads "World's Most Average Person." Then she drops it. She's already called the police, reporting an armed intruder with burglary tools. He glances at the so-called weapon in his hand, a Phillips head screwdriver, thinking that if this is armed and dangerous, then Bob the Builder must be public enemy number one. Patrol cars pull up within minutes. Officers step out with that look people get when they're trying to decide if they've walked into a sitcom or a crime scene, and she's gesturing toward his Honda Civic like it's a surveillance van. He calmly hands over his deed, ID, and inheritance papers. The lead officer reads them, gives a weary sigh, and tells her he's the owner. The way her jaw drops, it's like someone just told her the moon landing really happened. But she's not done. She whips out printed photos of his suspicious vehicle patterns, shots of him parking in his own driveway, and demands he pay those fines on the spot. He keeps his cool, asks for proper documentation, and she waves it off with, "I run this community." What she doesn't know is that his day job, data processing for the government, is the polite way of saying he can shut down any HOA in the country with the right audit. For now, he lets her think she's got the upper hand. That night, as the crickets sing and the porch light glows over the old steps, he catches her voice drifting across the yard. "Some paper pusher thinks they can ignore my authority. I'll show them how things work." She has no idea that's the last script she'll ever control. By week's end, the pattern is unmistakable. Lorie's eyes track him like a hawk from behind her blinds. Every hammer tap and shovel scrape logged in whatever Operation Community Compliance dossier she's building. When he installs a basic black mailbox from Home Depot at 2 in the afternoon, she calls 911 to report illegal construction with a threatening screwdriver. The responding officer takes one look at the box, the Home Depot receipt, and the neat little post hole, and you can almost hear his will to live slipping away. Grace Rodriguez, the sweet neighbor who showed up earlier with cookies, sidles over again after the squad car pulls away. This time she's got a manila folder fat with photos. 2 years' worth of Lorie's antics, from harassing elderly residents to driving families out over lawn dandelions. He studies them like an archaeologist uncovering an ancient fraud. Historians still argue whether Grace's quiet bravery or Lorie's loud arrogance played the bigger role in what happened next. He starts watching the HOA's public financial postings with the same focus he once used to spot hidden irregularities in multi-million-dollar nonprofits. Red flags pop up everywhere. Administrative fees tripled without explanation, community improvements that never happened, landscaping charges suspiciously close to the cost of weekly grocery runs. It's like she's been writing a case study in small-scale embezzlement, and he's just turning the pages. Knowing she's eavesdropping from her yard, he takes a work call about a nonprofit compliance review and audit trails just loud enough for her to hear. From the corner of his eye, he sees her freeze mid-hedge trim, the shears sagging in her hands. That night, lights glow late in her house, the flicker of a laptop screen betraying frantic research. By morning, she's asking Grace pointed questions about his job and visitors. Grace, with the composure of a seasoned poker player, shrugs and says, "He probably just processes tax returns or something." But Lorie's not buying the act anymore. Her attempts to dig into his background slam into bureaucratic walls, federal plates on his car, no social media footprint, blocked credit checks. To her, it's not standard federal privacy. It's confirmation she's dealing with a deep cover agent. Instead of backing down, she escalates. More photos labeled suspicious movement patterns, him walking to his door, more surveillance evidence, watering tomato plants. A quirky detail he now cherishes. With Grace acting as an informal intelligence chief, they compile a 3-year timeline. Every family she's driven out, every elderly resident she's targeted, every petty power play. The harassment of protected classes, the selective enforcement. It all matches the fraud profiles he's shut down for years. He doesn't have to bait her. She's baiting herself, building the very evidence that will gut her little kingdom. And when she finally calls police to report a federal agent conducting illegal surveillance, he knows she's teetered into the one mistake that will blow his cover wide open. The detective arrives with backup, and Lorie emerges like she's storming the capital of cul-de-sacs, binder in hand, tabs color-coded, evidence sheets laminated. She lays out photos of him conducting reconnaissance, checking his mail, audio of him making threats, "Have a lovely day," Lorie in the wrong tone, and fabricated witness statements from neighbors who, in reality, were swapping casserole recipes with him. The detective flips through it with the patience of a parent listening to a child explain how the dog ate their homework. But protocol is protocol. He asks for federal ID. That's when he ends it. Credentials out, voice steady. Jordan Blake, Senior Tax Compliance Officer, IRS Nonprofit Division. Oversight for every HOA in America. The air goes still. Lorie's face drains like someone pulled her plug. She stammers, muttering half-finished denials, but the detective's already shifting from wary to deferential. Grace appears on her porch with popcorn, grinning like a woman who just witnessed the first crack in a dam. What follows is a collapse in slow motion. She tries bribery, $800 in an envelope labeled Community Appreciation Gift, but he documents it on camera, reading her the definition of felony. She attempts to shred years of records. The machine jams after 10 pages, spitting out half-destroyed evidence like a slot machine of guilt. She transfers HOA funds to her personal account. The bank flags it instantly. She calls an emergency meeting to vote out federal oversight, earning a civics lesson on why you can't fire the IRS. Grace live streams the chaos, and the neighborhood watches like it's a season finale. Local news picks it up, and Lorie leans into martyrdom, sash and all. But when the reporter asks why grocery receipts are logged as landscaping expenses, she stumbles into a televised confession. Memes flood social media, her breakdown set to opera, her bribe attempt remixed into dance tracks. Prosecutors don't even need to dig. Her own paranoia has done the work. The charges hit like a thunderclap: tax evasion, mail fraud, civil rights violations, interference with a federal officer. 18 months in federal prison, restitution with interest, and a lifetime ban from nonprofit boards. Grace takes the HOA presidency by a landslide. Transparency becomes the norm, barbecues return, and property values jump. Months later, he hears she's in prison tax prep, a cosmic punchline no writer could improve. Then a letter arrives. She's offering to work as a federal informant on corrupt HOAs, claiming her insights could help. Historians still argue whether it's delusion or comedic genius. He shares it at the office. It becomes training material on denial. And in the soft close of the day, with kids playing where arguments once flared and neighbors trading food instead of lawsuits, he leans back on the porch. The cicadas hum, the air is warm, and the lesson is simple. Some bullies collapse the moment they meet someone who won't flinch, and the sweetest justice is when they provide the shovel to dig their own grave. He lets the silence stretch, the way you hold on to a song's last note before it fades, the sun slipping low behind the barn. The ranch smells of earth and cedar, a place restored to peace. And his voice drops to a near whisper, like he's telling only you. This is how power changes hands, not with shouting, but with patience, truth, and a paper trail they wrote themselves.